So coming to Kathy's simple home was like coming to a sanctuary. I felt reborn and rejuvenated. Instead of coiled up like a fetus in my New York City apartment, I was able to stretch my limbs, both physically and emotionally, in the home's welcoming arms. Its cozy fireplace radiated a sense of security. The stuffed sofa and chairs in the living room cushioned my contorted conscience, and the front porch where I'd sit staring at the lawn brought a solace I had long forgotten. Couple that with lots of family photos on the walls and the constant whir of conversation and cooking in the kitchen, and it restored in me the belief that my life had meaning and purpose, that relationships mattered immensely, and that one in particular was guiding me ever so lovingly and mercifully. And it was in Kathy's home that I began to realize that God had not forgotten me after all. It was quite the opposite. In fact, He was blessing me. He had brought me to a place in my life to get my attention, first emotionally with turmoil, then physically with this sanctuary. What looked to me like adversity, calamity, and disaster was actually God looking beyond my faults and my wants and seeing to my needs. Through Kathy, the grace of God shone bright. I knew it for certain because of one quiet moment when God spoke to me through something so ordinary and so common: the depth of relationship and the calming presence of His created world. I returned to Kathy's home often. In the years since that inaugural visit, so much has changed. I've learned that I must wholly lean on God, no matter the circumstances, a daily challenge. Then later, I became comfortable with the new position at Fox. And finally, I met a wonderful man to whom I am now married. We often stay at Kathy's place to get away from the city, but several times before we dated or even met, I would go there on my own or with my niece Nicole just to be part of Kathy's big family gatherings. Many times I would go there to write. The early morning solitude and quiet opened the portholes of my mind, unburdening it of pettiness so that the God I serve could speak to me. It was on one of those times at Kathy's place that I happened to take notice of a small framed photo of a lighthouse. The photo had always been there, sitting on a dresser, but I'd never really taken study of it until that one quiet summer morning when God chose to reveal Himself to me. There were no blaring trumpets or quaking revelations, just an ordinary moment taking note of a photo. It's an old black and white, grainy image of gray skies and a whitewashed brick lighthouse with tiny shacks nestled on either side. A white picket fence encircles the entire group of buildings. Although whoever built the tiny dwellings and fence may have thought to protect the lighthouse from would-be usurpers, the picture gives the impression that the structures are huddling close to the lighthouse for their own protection. Lighthouses are like that, you know. Their mere presence has been an assured sign to both mariners and land dwellers throughout the ages that all is not lost, that there is hope for safe journeys. That tiny photo of a lighthouse was certainly a sign of hope for me. I had come through a storm, and in that moment of quietness, God showed me it was His light guiding the way, His omniscient care shepherding my steps. So I began to try to understand the attraction to these lighthouses, these sentinels of the sea. What I quickly learned was that lighthouses were for many years deeply necessary because the sea can be an unforgiving master, the rocky shores a tempestuous beast. Stated beautifully by a wonderful documentary called America's Lighthouses. The lighthouse lamps provide a few visual aids for vessels plying treacherous waters. Without lighthouses, those at sea would not only have been lost, but would also be in serious danger, or worse, suffer death. That lighthouses also possess spiritual symbolism is no surprise. We all search for a ray of hope in life's darkest moments, and lighthouses are physical symbols of that and other spiritual truths, which we will explore in more detail. Practically, of course, lighthouses are built of earthly materials. Stone, brick, glass, and iron are all arranged into high towers of varying heights. The early lanterns needed oil for power, which the lighthouse keeper would bring up the winding staircase several times a day. And the lighthouse keepers are almost prophet-like, as immortalized in R.L. Stevenson's The Light Keeper. The brilliant kernel of the light.